the two types of databases, one is manual, other one is electronic database. If you are going to store in some form of electronically you are going to put into computer, then we call electronic database. So let's start with the manual database. So if I look at manual database, so in manual database, data is stored in a tabular form. It's manual, right? So if you take it, so let's say we have a page, we have set of data records, we can put it as a table, we can write it in a table. So address book like name, and you have a telephone number. So it's simply a manual database. So what are the difficulties? Now the problem is maintaining a manual database is difficult, people say. Now, for example, let's say you have number of columns are high, name, telephone number, address, and you are going to keep track of adding new columns. Then you may not have enough in space. Let's say you are going to have it in a book, so it's less efficient there and less accurate as well, right? So it's less efficient and less accurate as well. And data protection is difficult. If someone stole your copy of phone book, that might happen, of course, then you are going to lose information. So protection is difficult. Sometimes some of you might have like phone book with a lock, but again, then people can take the whole book. Then data insert, that means when you're adding, it'll be difficult. You have to always go to the correct page. Yes, if you have written the page halfway through, you have to go exactly that page. Insertion is difficult. Update, let's say one of your friends changed their phone number. Updating is difficult. If it is handwritten, you have to erase it, maybe tippets it, and then you have to rewrite it. Looks ugly, isn't it? Deleting, you can't remove. What do you do? I mean, like, let's say you don't want to keep someone's telephone number, you want to remove it. So how do you remove manually? It's not easy, isn't it? Maybe you can, tear off rather that particular page, for example. So data insert, update, and delete is difficult. Next, let's say you want to find someone's phone number. If you are not put it into alphabetical order, then searching is very, very difficult. That means you have to go through all the pages, isn't it? So that might happen in manual databases. And after you have written, you can't sort it. You can change the order. So it's difficult. Or how do you create a copy then? Again, keep a copy is again difficult. Maybe you have to purchase another book and you have to rewrite from the beginning. Or maybe you have to photocopy. But anyway, it's not direct, straightforward, which means difficult. And then getting only required data is difficult. Whatever you need is getting that is difficult, which means you need more manpower. Now, for example, if you take a school, think about school managing their student details. If they're using a traditional file-based system, we need a lot of people. Why? Because we want to keep track all these files. We have to sort this, and sometimes we have to find a particular file, So that means it's not easier to handle if the data is in manual form. So therefore, to avoid these issues or minimize this, we have what we call electronic databases. So there are some software actually developed for, creating databases. We call it planning and maintaining. So those software is known as with a special name. So the name is called database management systems. Right. Okay. Some quick questions. Yes. Yes. The advantages of database management system software. It's easy to create tables. Yes. Creation of tables is easy. More data can be stored. What do you mean by more data? You can decide on any number of rows and columns, and what you need is very small space. Access time is low. The access time means the time it takes to access particular data item. So that is very, very low. Data can be found easily. Let's say you want to find a friend's phone number. You just have to type a couple of characters of the name, and then you can directly get the phone number. So it's easier. Now, if you have you family with the mobile phone, in mobile phone you have a dictionary, or you can have a phone book. If you just type first two letters of a person's name, you might see his number directly. So it's easy to search. And it's easy to copy a database. Like, let's say you want to get a copy of this. Just you can use copy paste and you will have a copy of a database. So creating copy is very, very easy when it comes to electronic data. Database security is high. Earlier, remember, security is low, I told you. Now we know who will access the data, what data is accessible, everything could be defined. We can make it more protective. We can use usernames and passwords to open the database. So it's possible. Adding new records, updating existing record, deleting, it's very, very easy. New record is just now adding a one row. Changing is just change it. You don't have to do anything. You can just delete, and you can type new, and you can remove records. Everything will be easy. Searching and sorting. Search means you search particular data item. It's easier. Sorting means you will create in particular order. So that is also easy. So searching and sorting is easy. Then data filtering can be done easily. Now, for example, let's say I have a database of students, and I want to get only students live in Nicaragua. So that could be easily done. Data can be easily shared. Now, let's say I have some data I want to share with another person. Sharing is again easy. You can just use share information. So there are some ways to do this, and then immediately that data is available to the other person. Last one, data is independent of the programs. Usually the program and data is independent. We call data independence. Because of this, you can have the data, but at the same time, multiple programs can access the same database. So these are the advantages of using database management systems. Okay, before moving to the next one, let's discuss some advantages. Manual databases, we discussed there are some issues. Okay, each of you, I want you to tell me what are the advantages. Yes, Achira, the advantages of electronic databases. Yes, data can be shared easily. Vinu already told me an answer. Good. Janani? Pramodi? The advantages of electronic databases.
Need a small space to store
Yeah,
data.
exactly. Now let's say, think about a library. When you take up a library, see how many, you need a lot of space. But very same thing, same information could be you can put into a pen drive. So basically, when you have data in a pen drive, it's like you are carrying a library with you. Good one. Shashini?
Easy to analyze data.
It's easy to analyze the data. Now let's say I want to look at who's having high marks for mathematics. Let's say I am going to create a database. I'm going to store data about their marks on different subjects. Then by going through the details, I can find okay, those who actually excel in particular subject. So data analysis is easier and quicker. Okay, Achira. Janani. Yes, Achira. Independence of data. Good. As Achira said, the data is independent. Data is separate from the program. So we call it data independence. Because of this reason, multiple programs can access the data. Okay, good one. Okay, let's move to the next one. Let's talk about the data types. Now we talk about the electronic databases. Whenever we store the data, we have to think about their type as well. Now, for example, one is called text. One data type is called text data type. So what do you mean by text here? Yes, the text data type means if you have letters, numbers, special characters in a piece of data, then we can say the data type is text. Now let's look at national identity number. You have set of numbers and some character, which means if you want to store a national ID number in a database, you have to select the text data type. Let's take a phone number. Now phone number is not a number, right? It's not a number because you start with, let's say, 0376006. So you need 0 as well in the beginning, right? So it's not a number. So which means you have to define it as a text. Then there's another text, another data type called a number. Now let's say numbers are some things we use to add, subtract. For example, we use things for calculations, like so if you take integer, real, so those comes under the number data type. Yes. Now, for example, age is considered as a number. Okay. Then third one, currency. Whenever you want to talk about the money or represent currency units, we have to use the data type called currency. For example, here $10 or 1,500 rupees. These considered as currency data type. Next, date and time. Now this format is actually used to represent date or time or both. So if you want to represent a date, let's say birth date, then the data format should be, or data type should be date and time, right? If you want to represent time, again, you have to use date and time. Now one example given. So that is 9/30/2017, that is September 30th September 2017. So first of all, you have month, then date, and then year. That format is there. So that depends on the format you choose, but for the time being, remember, when you want to store date and times, you have to use date and time data type. Last one. So sometimes we have to represent some Boolean values like true and false. So true, false, that means two distinct values, we can make use of Boolean data type. So we have discussed 5 data types. So 5 data types are text, number, currency, date and time, Boolean. Text, I told you, you can have text, numbers, or special characters. Then you had to use text data type. Numbers, the numbers we use for calculations. Currency, to represent currency units. Date and time, we have date and time data type. And then true, false can be represented using Boolean data type. So there are 5 data types. Right. Now, when we create tables in electronically, we have to identify what we call the properties. We call field properties. Now, field properties means, for example, the size of the field. Now, let's say you want to store a name in the database. Now, you can say it's a text data type. You can define the text data type. And at the same time, you should decide what is the maximum size you can have. That means maximum number of characters you can have. Right. Now, for example, we can say size is 80 for a name, which means if you would represent someone's name, you have to do it within 80 characters. And then we can have format. Now, for example, we can say that, okay, name should be input in uppercase letters or lowercase letters. If you take dates, dates could be written in multiple formats. So this is one format. This is another format. Time also the same. You have some format, like in this one, even seconds are counted. Here we have hours and minutes. So this is called format. Now let's look at some examples. So this is a field name and data type. Now if you take admission number, take your admission number. So usually data type, it could be, depends on what you have. It could be a number or it could be a text. Some admission number, you have just a number only. Some schools, for example, you have some characters and numbers together. If that is the case, you have to use text. Now, if you take name of a person or name of a student, definitely it should be text. Gender, male, female. So you can take it in 2 ways. Either you can use it as a Boolean, because when you say gender, it should be male and female. Only 2 distinct values. So you can use a Boolean, or you can just use text. Then date of birth. So it should be, the data type should be date and time. Finally, address, again, it should be text. So right now we discuss the data types available in databases. For any given field, you should be now able to identify the data type. Right, quick example. I want everyone to send me answers in the chat for each. Let me put numbers as 1, 2, and so on. You don't have to type field name, just put 1, 2, and with that one, I need the data type. Yes. Can you quickly send me in the chat the answers? Yes, admission number could be a text. Sometimes if you have some characters with the number, then it should be a text anyway. Or you can take it as a number. Date of admission. Yes. It should be date and time. Date and time. Third one, subject code. Subject code. Sometimes we use some codes to represent subjects. Yes. It could be letters, it could be characters, it could be anything. So, subject code. What should be the data type? Yes, it should be text. So this should be text. Should be text, right? ISBN number. If you see, like, if you purchase a book, there'll be a number behind the book. What is it? Is it a number or is it a text? You have some format as well. So this could also be as a text. You can take it as a number, but it's not really a number. Number means something that you can use for calculations. Now, for example, ISBN, you cannot use it for calculations. Normally we will not. So in that case, we have to choose text. Fifth one, department name. Yes, department name. It's basically name, right? Should be text. Should be text. Number of passengers. Number of passengers. What do you think? Number of passengers, 10 passengers, 20 passengers. Yes, it should be a number. It should be a number. Okay. So I think if you go through these several tables, we have student table, we have admission name and address, subject code, subject name, admission number, subject code, marks. Right, there's a question, these are related tables. I want you to identify, given someone, I want to find someone's marks for ICT subject. Okay, Janani gave me the answer. Good, correct. Achira, good, got the correct answer. Yes. Pramodi, yes, it's 95. How do you know that 95? Because I know that from here, someone's admission number is 1001. And ICT subject code is 100. And if I go through 1001, 100, we know marks is 95. So by going through that set of tables, we can identify what someone marks for ICT. So this is an example for relational database. The tables are related